folks. We got the whole gang here. Slim, Bones. It's nice to have everyone back. Guys, our Phillies are no longer the best team in baseball, no longer have the best record in baseball, no longer have the top place of the NL East. It was an ugly, ugly home stretch here. Phillies have lost 4 straight. We're going to get into that disaster of a Brewers series. But, Bones, another big red corner tailgate on the positive. What'd you think of our tailgate this weekend?
Yeah, I missed the second game that we had. You guys were there, the Cinco de Mayo weekend, but
Right.
yesterday we had a huge crowd there, as everybody's seen from our socials, and it was a great day. Weather was nice. It wasn't wasn't too cold.
Cool.
Yeah, there was a little bit of rain, but it was actually worse north of the city and south. So right in the middle, it didn't get hit. So. But all in all, it was a good day for a tailgate. Probably should have stayed there because the game sucked. Phillies got whipped. But yeah, great day with the boys and the Red Riders.
Great day. Yeah, I mean, listen, there was a lot that happened outside of the game, and we're not going to touch too much on that game. It was one of the worst starts that a Phillies pitcher has ever had, right, in Phillies history, and the worst in our lifetime since 1947. 12 earned runs through 3 innings. But I think the highlight might have been the ice cream bet. So do you want to talk a little bit about the ice cream helmets?
Yeah, like I said, I was going in before we got the receipts. I was going to add 2 ice creams. Well, that's what happened. Unfortunately, I didn't live up to the bet where we get 2 different helmets.
Right.
Couldn't find the person I was in contact at Aramark with. So unfortunately, I got the same helmet, but I'm pretty sure I said on here I was going to get 2 of every helmet. So I get 2 of the one yesterday.
We are not
dead yet.
Yeah.
And this is one of the newer ones too.
Yeah.
It's the light blue cap and navy bill. I actually left it at one of the Red Riders' house when we came home last night, but I'll have that for the next episode.
We will collect that. And like Bones said, and Slim, I see you over there drinking a nice Love City beer. So shout out to our proud brewing partner. But
yes.
Like Bones said earlier, there was a lot of Red Riders, and we picked up a lot of new subscribers. So thank you very much for everyone who stopped over and said hello. And if you are here now, hit that subscribe button, jump over to our other socials. But enough about the tailgate. We didn't have our boy Slim there. But Slim, our dog hero here, has an update on his dog bite saga. Slim, tell the people.
Hey, what's up, everybody? So, yeah, as you know, last weekend, I got severely bitten by a pooch. And I'll tell you what, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday. I was going back and forth to the doctors here in Wildwood, Philadelphia. And then I even had to check in with my therapist, believe it or not. And my therapist told me to basically to come clean because a couple things been happening. I had a lot of pitbull advocates in my inbox saying that, Slim, you're talking bad about pitbulls. They already get a bad rep, yada, 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 yada. It was making me feel guilty because here's the truth. I did not get bit by a pitbull.
Wait, what?
I got bit by the poodle. The poodle bit me.
Wow.
Yeah. So it wasn't, everything was true. I felt ashamed that I got bit by a poodle really, really bad. When I snagged the poodle bit me. I didn't grab it by his hind legs. I was able to run away from the pit bull, thankfully. If the pit bull would have got me, I would have been missing a hand. But I was on Rio Grande Avenue there. I ran across the median. I grabbed this poodle. As I ran away with the poodle, you can still see, got me real, real good.
Oh, wow.
Got me really, really good. I was embarrassed to say the poodle got me, so I was talking all this grizzy nonsense about pit bulls. Then I had the pit bull advocates in my inboxes. And then when it just came to the story, it's a funnier story now that I can tell you guys the truth, that it was indeed a poodle. I think it was like a French miniature poodle. Bit the crap out of Slim. And let me tell you, if you guys ever seen Anchorman, Jack Black, when he kicked Will Ferrell's character's dog off the thing, that was me. I ran off with this poodle. I got bit, and then after that, I threw that dog to the side. I wanted nothing else to do with it. I ran back to my car, bloody, and I went straight to the emergency room.
Wow. So this is. I think we should be a little bit. We should admire your honesty here. Right? I'm a little bit mixed emotions here. You're throwing a lot at me going on right now.
I know it's going to be a
So
lot.
this is a lot. So number one, let's just kind of replay the details, and we'll get into the Phillies. Chat, we see you. Number one, you still saved a poodle's life. So let's not
Yes.
lose sight of that. You lost.
Yes.
You did save a poodle's life. Let's not lose sight of that. You bended the truth a little bit on which dog bit you. That's all. You were confused at the time. You were confused.
I'll tell you what, I couldn't even remember. I was on Rio Grande Ave. I didn't realize it until days later. Days later, I realized on Rio Grande Ave. But yeah, it was not. It was crazy. Like a lot of adrenaline still. It just wasn't a huge Jaws type pit bull. It was a French poodle.
Wow. So not a 90-pound pit bull, but a 13-pound poodle took a nice chunk of his hand. All right,
Yeah.
guys.
That's a payback for talking shit on my dogs.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yep. If you fed your dogs real chicken, they would be the size of this poodle.
All right, so guys, let's kind of. I'm going to start off with you, Bones, and I want you guys to kind of take this however you want. Right? I'll lay the table a little bit here. Number one, the Phillies got swept by the Brewers at home. The first time we got swept at home in a series in over a year. Right? The last time it was the Yanks during 2024 season. So this was an ugly, ugly season. If you're a fan of bad baseball, this was this series for you. But where do you want to take this, Bones? Instant reaction on that series.
Yeah, I mean, today it was all about the defense, right? We were getting good pitching out of Ranger Suarez. Bullpen came in, and then Weston Wilson misjudged the ball. Trea Turner boots a ball.
Brutal.
I was listening to the radio, so I think he booted it or whatever.
He did. It was a routine play.
And Rob Thompson talked about it after the game, like they can't work on like something like that. Like it was literally directly hit to him. He just missed it. Like it's got to be better. He's only had 5 errors all year, which is crazy. That just shows like how the scorecards are in baseball. But the defense has to be better there, especially coming from Turner. But the bullpen, like you can't blame that on Orion Kerkering. Like when you're giving up outs,
right,
in that situation, like you can't blame him. Like he's been pitching well. Guys get on base. I don't probably get frustrated. Start tightening up. Try to make pitches that, trying to make the pitches better, and things just get out of hand on you. And what do you give up 4 runs out of that?
Yes.
So. Bad pitching yesterday by Jesus Luzardo. Obviously, we talked about it. 12 earned runs, most since 1947 by a Phillies pitcher. There was some bad baseball going on all around yesterday by pitching. Devin's got a black screen here, but I'll just keep on talking. And then
Yeah, you're good. Keep going.
Friday night. Who pitched Friday night? I can't.
Wheeler.
Oh, yeah, Wheeler. Bad start by Wheeler.
Yeah, Wheeler didn't look good. Lozardo didn't look good. And
No, Wheeler was Thursday night.
Oh, that's right. He was Thursday.
Doubleheader. Sanchez? Friday?
Well, I think the key thing you said was this going back to the defense, because that's the two biggest standouts to me. It was one, the defense rearing its ugly head again. Turner's not A++. Wilson is basically laughable, and to add insult to injury, I think Wilson, who's supposed to be able to crush lefties, has 3 hits versus lefties all year so far. So we had the Wilson mistakes, we had the Turner mistakes, and then the guy is Sosa. Sosa went. He didn't go home on a play. He went to second on a play that eventually led to the game being 2-1, and then it eventually set up the not just a tie-in error that came from Turner, but eventually the home run. So again, that's what I'm looking at. The second thing, like you said, this is the first time too that we hear Thompson being critical of Turner out front. As soon as the game's over, he said there was no excuse for him not to make that play at shortstop. He'll talk to the position coach about it, but there's nothing to be said. That's a play that's expected to be done. So that change in tone from Thompson is telling me that are they starting to kick the wheels on the idea of not starting or maybe moving Turner's position, because that's the first time we heard some content in Thompson's tone when talking about Turner at shortstop. Don't you think so?
Yeah, and I remember talking about it before. It was during that Cub series where Kevin Stocker was very critical of Trea Turner's defense, and this was more of on throws coming down to second on steals, where Turner's more of like a swipe kind of guy when tagging the runner or going to tag the runner, and he missed one that series. And
Gotcha.
Kevin Stocker was like critical of him, like saying, "I know Bobby Dickerson doesn't teach this. He's a straight down, as soon as you catch the ball, tag guy. So if something's not going in on, like something's got to be said to him, and maybe they're getting tired of it, and they're going to start saying like, because it's getting old with Turner."
Right, because that's another good point. Because then you see Thompson coming out. You're saying that's the way he tags is against the way the coaches teach it. Now, who knows if that's all the time he does like that or what? Again, I do think we're on a weird little time frame here because I don't think Sosa's the answer. And then then what's the move? Do you put Stott at shortstop, Sosa at second, and then Turner in the outfield? That seems like much, especially since Turner did not do any outfield practice at all this spring training. Hasn't been out there in years. So I still think this is more of a 2026 change. But I do think it basically it's a theme of our team. Our theme right now is bad defense and keep positions like shortstop. It's bad relief pitching, not having enough depth there. And then it's the timely hitting because we saw that again today as well. You mentioned the first two. We saw Quintero basically got an extra inning in because he he had almost like already in the mid 60s, I think, in his pitches. By the time he completed the fourth, he came back in the fifth. He saw Remuto, Castellanos, and he saw Bohm. Not in that order. I guess it was Bohm, Castellanos, Remuto. And yeah, it was 3 up, 3 down. Like it was no problem. So again, it stinks because this is what I was saying last week when we were talking about players being hot. It stinks when we get the better pitchings or when we see guys who know how to pitch to these dudes because it's the same old song and dance. Turner, Castellanos, Remuto. The runs we scored today, they were soft runs. You know, one was the Schwarber one, and the other was coming from Remuto again. So yeah, I am a little bit nervous. We're no longer in first place in NL East either. So that was the fastest, best record in baseball reign of all time because as soon as Harper went down, that record went down. And that's the other thing, Bones. You're seeing how valuable Harper is because even with him not being in there, it's huge.
Yeah, he definitely changed the lineup, and Nick Castellanos touched on that after I guess it was the doubleheader game, or maybe it was Friday night, and it was Taiwan Walker who started Friday night for the Phillies, and he's now going back to the bullpen. Mick Abel coming up on Thursday, starting against the Blue Jays. They want to see Walker out of these like one inning spots. But yeah, Castellanos was talking about it, how they're like asking him, is it like, can you tell the difference with Harper not in the lineup? He goes, yeah, of course. He's a 2-time MVP. You can see the difference, like in any line. You'll see it anywhere. But he's got a point. Like people are saying, like guys that are usually in that spot, they're going to see different pitches. Like Romuto's moved up in the lineup. He was batting eighth earlier this week. But one thing to look out for. We talked about the Weston Wilson struggles out in left field. With the Phillies making this move today with designating Ruiz for assignment and bringing up Abel, it opens up a spot on the 40-man roster. Meaning somebody that wasn't on there like an Otto Kemp, Justin Crawford, they're not on the 40-man roster where they could just come up straight from the minors to the Phillies. Like, they got to be put on this roster, and then they can come on the 40-man roster, then they can come up to the Phillies. So there's a spot open there. I'm interested to see what happens between now and Tuesday because they don't have to make they might not make that move till Tuesday before game time to see maybe somebody else is coming up as well, or at least going on that roster, and in the coming weeks being put there. You know what I mean? Because
What would be so if we wanted to go about putting Crawford on the 40-man roster? Because I think he's eventually going to come up this year. I just don't think it's going to be this week. The reason
yeah,
I say that is, and I've been saying this now for over a month, we're going to eventually, I think, trade Marsh. And then once we free up Marsh, we'll be able to bring up Crawford and allow Crawford to actually play every single day. I think that will be the game plan. Get rid of Marsh, have Crawford, have Rojas as a bench piece, because we're seeing the same old Marsh again. We're seeing the same old Rojas again. Rojas seems like a guy. I mean, he's not a great hitter, and then when he's not playing every day, he's an even worse hitter. So I'm all for getting, seeing who we're going to be adding this week. Long term, I'm hoping to see Crawford up here in that center field spot. I wasn't thinking like that before, but I'm definitely thinking about that now. Who do you think? Who are the options? Like, do you think it'll be Crawford so soon? Who do you think to see? Who will they name on that 40-man spot come Tuesday? Who are the top guys? Because are we going to see one of these dudes like?
now I don't know if Painter's on the 40-man or not. To be honest with you, since he's like coming back from injury, so I don't know if like they're saving that spot for him eventually, or like I mentioned Crawford, which I don't think they're going to bring up. Looking at Otto Kemp, he's a guy down there in the minors. He's hitting uh, over 300. He's got like 13 homers, 47 RBIs or something like that. Playing the outfield, they moved him out there earlier in this season, so he's getting time out there, and he's a right-handed bat. So it's definitely something that the Phillies could use right now. A little spark in the lineup.
Well, there's no doubt Painter's definitely going to be up in July. So I think the question is there another other piece there, either with Otto or Crawford? We see Abel's coming up, and Abel, as Thompson was talking about, he's up for good now. It doesn't seem like they're going to be sending him back and forth, back and forth. Just like it doesn't seem like we're going to be doing the carousel with the starting / relief pitching back and forth with Walker there. Seems like Walker's going to go to the bullpen, get the reps, see if he can do the high leverage stuff, like you were saying, the one inning stuff. Seems like Abel's going to be starting.
Well, that's only till Noah comes back.
Well, it's going to make things interesting, because I know a lot of people are trying to trade Abel. They're trying to trade. They're trying to find a middle relief guy or a back end closer type. The more and more I look at it, Abel seems like a pitcher for us that's going to be here for the future. I think what the Phillies are doing now is pretty marvelous, where we have these depth pieces coming up, contributing to a win now environment, while also knowing they're going to be here long term. I 100% expect Abel and Painter to be pitching here in 2026 and 2027. And what's the control with Abel? Because we know that the Phillies were definitely interested in getting Mason Miller, and it just didn't happen because the Athletics were so concerned with having the fourth-year control with Mason Miller. So if we had the control with Abel, make Abel, that makes it more valuable to us than elsewhere.
And another move they had this week was like the Iron Pigs. They got the best bullpen in the minors, as we talked in AAA, as we talked about a few weeks ago. And they made called one of them guys up this week, Seth Johnson. They brought him over last year. It was either Dominguez or Soto, one of them relievers to the Orioles trade. So he was like I think top 12 in the Orioles organization. So he was a starter. They moved him to the bullpen earlier this season, and he's been pitching well, like an ERA below 1 down there. So they're going to move him. He's a high fastball guy. Loses command a little bit, but it's got a slider and another pitch. Off the top of my head, I can't think of it right now. But let's see what that does. They're seeing the problems that we're seeing, and they're making the adjustments. It's just a matter of if the pieces are going to work or not.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
well,
And guys, you can hear me again, right? Thanks for carrying the load there. Yeah, just to clarify that, Bones. Yeah, so Johnson, that was in the Gregory Soto trade deadline last year. We got Moises Chase for Soto at the deadline. So, guys, I know I was listening there, and thank you for carrying the load. I had to just step away for a second, but I want to just put a pin in the Trea Turner conversation. Were you guys able to come to a conclusion on where you're officially at for
I,
now?
I really do think we would have a better baseball team if we put
Yeah.
Stott at shortstop, Sosa at second, Trey in left field. But I don't think we're going to see that this year. I think it's more likely we see that happen again next year. But yeah, it's a real problem. And like we said, if you were listening, we see now the tension that we think's building between the organization, the manager, as with Trea Turner. Before it was all, cherry blossoms, everything was rosy. Doesn't seem so like that anymore with Thompson's comments. Did you see his comments, Devo?
I did, and that was a great call out by you. I'm glad you said that because I picked up the same exact vibe. Rob basically said previously he would have said something along the lines of, that's a play that Turner's going to make, 9 times out of 10. But like you said, Slim, and I picked that up just same exact way. He basically said that's a play that Turner has to make. So this is what I wanted to put a pin in. And Slim, I knew where you stand on this. Bones, I want to just kind of like make a final call on this. In this type of stuff, right? I have a theory on why I would do it now. I want to hear your thoughts. I'd rather do a move like this too early than too late, right? Because we're already seeing how it can cost you games. Now, this is why I think you do it right now. Turner's playing really good baseball overall, right? He tore the cover off the ball in May. He's at the top of of our all the hit categories for our team, and he's playing good. So now you can kind of frame it as, look, Trey, keep doing what you're doing. We're just trying to get a different look at short right now. It's not like he's having a complete situation where it's like, Trey, you're letting your defense impact your offense or vice versa. It's just one side of the ball where we want to focus on. Where are we at on that?
Again, I think this if he's able to do it, he's a great leader and a great plays mentally. But I
Yeah.
think for the most part, since he really is a stud, that it will probably just be a huge cut to his confidence that we can't risk right now. Because no matter what, the wheels in his own head will start turning about. Oh, I'm better than so and so here. I'm better than It's just natural, and that will take away from his hitting. I think, unless again we heard John Kruk and Strider after he hit Harper say he's not a psycho, right?
Yeah.
We would be asking Turner to be a psychopath to be able to cut off his ego with his defensive ability at shortstop and to keep up the hitting, in my opinion.
Hey, might see you turn around too if that happens and go to
So,
the
Slim,
outfield. But I don't think he's going to go to the outfield.
yeah, I think second base would probably be the more realistic, right?
So just to
But
flip flop him right then and there.
Yeah.
yeah, because I'm not as high on Sosa every day as Slim is. I just don't like his average has dropped significantly in the last week and a half from where it was. Like he was batting like 358. He's almost down to he might be below 300 now.
Yeah, I'm not big on him every single day either, but for this team, I think the best lineup probably includes him at second base and Turner in the outfield. Because if not, then you're talking about Devo, and I say this tongue in cheek, his $10 million boy Kepler, who sucks. Right? So I don't think Sosa really is an everyday dude like that, but in this scenario, I think our best defensive lineup is Sosa second, Stott shortstop for sure, but I don't see that happening. I could see what you guys said potentially, just a flip flop of Stott and Turner, a little easier.
The flip flop's definitely cleaner, and Slim, you're right. A lot of this is kind of us playing MLB the Show a little bit, right? Like it's easier to talk about this, and it's a difficult decision for the team to make, especially egos, salary, contract, all the conversations that they've had, right? Because Dombrowski looked Turner in the eyes at one point and said, "You're our shortstop for the future," right? Now, Dombrowski did also backpedal a little bit, right? recently and say, hey, look, for the time being, we think he's the shortstop, not as committal. Bones, you hit on this earlier, kind of how the Phillies have somewhat cleaned house on the strategy we're using with the bullpen. We had Ruiz got DFA'd, and we have Johnson, which we just talked about. So on that theme, and I know you mentioned this a little bit, Slim. I just want to put a pin in this before we transition. Where are we at on Crawford? Do we think this is an opportunity to move him up since we're kind of shuffling things around?
So that's what I was saying. I think it's more going to be. I think there's a bigger chance it's going to be that Otto Kemp than a
Okay.
Justin Crawford coming up. Because
Okay.
he's been playing the corner outfield spot down there in Lehigh Valley. He has a little more pop than Crawford. He has 47 RBIs. Yeah, so I think they've been playing him there since just a little after the season started. So I think that's going to be the move with that spot open. Just a matter of when it will happen.
Slim, any closing thoughts on that?
I could see Otto Kemp coming up here quicker, but the long-term solution at center field might end up being Crawford because we're seeing the same old Marsh. We're seeing Rojas digressing when he's not playing every day, and he's not a dude we can be playing every single day like that if he's not hitting, but he's even worse when he's being platooned. So that means we got to move Marsh somewhere. We got to figure something out with Rojas and then open up the playing time for Crawford once he's up here. I like the idea of letting Marsh go somewhere, starting Crawford, and then still having Rojas as the legit backup behind Crawford. With the idea that Rojas can have a redemption arc here and there defensively, plug them in late in the innings, maybe. If you need a base runner or something in a tight spot. But if we bring up Crawford, I think you're doing him a disservice if you platoon him. So I can agree with Bones there, but long term, we got to figure this out because it's not going to be Marsh I don't. It's not looking like it's Marsh or Rojas.
Slim, I'm with you on this, and this is where I'm at, right? Between Weston Wilson, Kepler, Marsh, and Rojas, that you just hit on, those four names, that's going to be a reflection on Dombrowski and Rob if we're going into the playoffs and those guys are still doing the same old stuff, right? So
Yeah.
I think what they're going to do, and the easiest thing is internal, right? So you give Otto Kemp a look. You give Crawford a look. Crawford's batting like 340 at AAA right now. The guy's
330 something. Yeah, he's hitting.
Yeah. So and he plays great defense. He can run the bases. So I think they're going to want to make a move. So basically, we can't say they didn't try. And then obviously there's the trade aspect. But that's exciting. Those options there. Let me get to the chat real quick, and then we'll transition to around the corner where Bones will talk about the league in general. So Jerry B in the chat saying, ever since Harper got hit and has been out, no retaliation. They have no cojones. I hear you there, Jerry. We talked about that with a little side content, and we agree with you. We got BD Jones saying, man, the Phillies are playing like poop. You are correct, BD Jones. And then Willie D in the chat, they just need to flip Stott and Turner, and they get rid of Rojas and Wilson. Listen, that would not surprise me at all. I don't think Rojas is going anywhere too soon. But and then Jerry B, finally, before we'll go on to around the corner, I'd rather see them move Rojas. I think Marsh's mentality could handle being platoon better than Rojas. Interesting. I'm kind of at, like, I'm over Marsh. I'm there. Like, I think I'm done. I think I'm ready to move on. It's a relationship that's been toxic, and I'm at the point where I'm ready to move on and start seeing other people. I'm done.
Yeah, and he doesn't bring it defensively enough for me. At least Rojas, I can always kind of lie to myself and say that the defense is there. Marsh, even yesterday, I think there was a couple where he's like letting the second baseman get to the balls and stuff before he is. I just don't love Marsh. But same thing. I don't see Rojas being the guy either. That's why when we bring up Crawford, if it happens, I hope he can play every single day. With the
100%.
locker room stuff, yeah, you do hear Harper and the other guys talk about how cool of a locker room presence Marsh is, but yeah, I think they're adults. They could live without him.
That's
Yeah, I mean,
funny you bring that up about Rojas because I feel, or about Marsh, I feel the same way about Rojas. Like all I hear about how good a defender he is, and I think he blows. The guy can't read. He can read a book better than a ball coming off the bat. And I was listening to the radio today, and Scott Fransky, I don't know what inning it was, but Bryson Stott made the out, or it was Larry Anderson. He was like, "Oh, thank God that Stott was out there to grab that ball because Rojas was nowhere near it." So I guess it was like more towards like the out, like an in betweener there.
yeah. So here, just one quick thing, and I'll let you respond on that, Slim. Because and I think the bigger point of all this is, if we're still not sure where these guys are, this many guys, we need to make a move, right? Like that's telling the story. But the reason I'm more on Rojas is I'm more confident in knowing who Rojas is than I am Marsh. Rojas, I think his athletic ability gives him the ability to be called a good defender, but the IQ side is clearly not there. You know, he's a space cadet out there sometimes.
Yeah.
Slim, what were you going to say? I'm sorry.
No, I mean, if you're comparing them head to head, Marsh and Rojas, it's not even close. Rojas is much, much better defense. I think a lot of people kind of just drag Rojas on the once in a while the defensive blunders. We saw a couple early on that were head scratchers, really, really bad ones. But no, he makes plays at the wall. He covers a ton of ground.
Yep.
When he's on, he's a Gold Glove defender. So yeah, I'm not. Sometimes maybe he's not A plus plus, but he's always getting A's.
But some of them balls, like you see where he makes great defensive plays, he shouldn't be making plays like that because he like takes bad routes to the ball or he's misjudging the ball.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're 100% right. Like he does kind of the classic Jim Edmonds, right? Now, a lot of times people would say Jim Edmonds makes good plays because he wasn't that fast of a center fielder, right?
Yeah.
Where a lot of guys would just be there and already.
Kind of like Nicky C.
Kind of like Nicky C, honestly, yeah. Good comp.
I think, well, that's where it gets too far, right? Because you're saying a dude who's super fast, covers a ton of ground. The truth is, he's probably making plays on balls that he shouldn't be making, and it's the opposite. He's getting the balls that other people want to get to, and you guys are sitting here holding it against them. So I really don't.
He's saying
I think once we get into the tracking and the route stuff, that's real spin zone stuff for Slim. So yeah, I'm not going that far.
I hear you. All right, so Willie D, and then we're going to transition here. Two quick things here. So Willie D, and I see you, Ron, in the chat. The same old outfield issues. This is all on Dombrowski. Based off that comment that Willie's saying, I'm looking at Kepler, right? Because that's the biggest acquisition. What's your Kepler grade so far this year?
F. He plays pretty solid defense out there. You know, the transition's been fine. But for the most part, is he better than Marsh and Rojas? You know, and we're paying him $10 million. So, yeah, that's why I give it an F. At this point, I'm tired of Kepler.
He was hitting 25 homers for you last week.
I know. But weeks ago. I haven't said his name in a long time. And I keep trying to give him a chance, but no, the $10 million, he's no good. Yeah, it's his bat. His bat's terrible.
Not consistent at all.
No, he does nothing for me. So, no, you're right. If we had Wilson, Kepler, Rojas, and Marsh on this playoff roster, if we get there, because we still got a lot of baseball left, it's a real bad look on Dombrowski. I agree with Billy. He has the chance to turn this roster around a little bit, though. So we'll see what he does.
He has the chance. Yeah.
One easy move is Crawford. There's one new guy right then and there. So.
Yeah, and we hit on this like a week or so ago. Basically, I'm most concerned with that $10 million number, right? Because what makes you hang on to that decision longer, right? If Kepler was a $4 million player, his leash isn't as long. But Rondo, I see in the chat, that's going to transition to our next topic. So, Bones, around the corner, what do you got for us?
So we're going to go around the corner. We're going to go out. Just came out today. We're talking about it right before the episode. Corbin Burns, big free agent signing this year for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Gets hurt in the start today against the Nationals. The pitching coach or trainer goes out. He goes, my elbow, it's dead. Done.
I saw that.
But they kind of got a report back. It's like a little inflamed. They're cautiously optimistic that it's not serious. So, what else was I going to touch on? Yeah, we talked about like the players getting rocked yesterday. Fought another guy who was on the Diamondbacks got rocked yesterday. Yankees got their asses kicked against the Dodgers last night. A lot of blowouts yesterday in baseball. There was the Rays lost or beat the Astros. I think it was like 16-2 yesterday. They're another one I want to touch on. There's a contract coming up with baseball next year. They're already talking about how there's going to be another lockout, right? Mm-hmm. What these teams do to players with their service time should be like looked into by like a grand jury or something, because Chandler Simpson, outfielder for the Tampa Bay Rays, just came up in the beginning of May, batting .285, led the American League in stolen bases with 19 for the month, got sent down to the minors on Friday. And there's already reports out there saying he could be back within like a week, and it might be just for like another year's service time with the Tampa Bay Rays. Like that's something that's got to look into. That should be illegal.
Right. So basically, they're manipulating his service time so he gets paid differently.
Yep, for like arbitration and all that when he hits free agency. Like that's a disgrace.
And the Red Sox are waiting to bring up Roman Anthony for the same reasons.
Yeah, they do this like all the time, like usually with like pitchers, or when Harper came up, he came up. It's usually like end of May, June. It all depends on how many games it is, but it's definitely something that should be looked into. And how about the Nationals? I mean, we talked about them early on. I said I thought they were going to be a better team than what their record or what their Vegas had them at, and James Wood, C.J. Abrams, like all these guys that came over in the Juan Soto deal, 4 of them are up on the team now. So that's pretty good for the Nationals, and they're going to be a team to watch out for in the next couple of years.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, James Wood's a stud.
Yeah.
We've been talking about him for weeks. Anything else on Around the Corner?
No, that's all I got.
Awesome. You hit on a lot of the big ones. So let's...
Oh, the last one. I'm sorry. Yeah. Antonio Sensatella, the pitcher for the Rockies, he has more losses on the year at 1-10 than the Rockies have wins at 9.
That Rockies team, it's crazy that, after that White Sox year, I didn't think we would have another team like that for a while. And then the very next year, you see the Rockies like basically hit them with the hold my beer. Like that team is rough. And it's funny, we played them, the second series of the year was the first series?
They were the Phillies home opener, yeah.
Home opener. So the second series, we opened with the Nationals, right? So I did not think that they were as bad as they are right now when I saw that game. The second time we played, I was like, oh, wow, no, these guys are bad. But that first one, I didn't sniff that out, I'll be honest.
You got 4 of the worst starters in baseball. The Phillies got the other one.
So Ron in the chat asked about the Blue Jays, so we're previewing them anyway. So Phillies have a day off tomorrow, right, Monday, and then they fly up to Toronto Tuesday for a 3-game series with the Blue Jays. The 31-28, second place in the AL East Blue Jays. Guys, we're not going to spend too much time going into the the matchups. The Phillies have 3 righties coming up. We got a Tuesday through Thursday series. Slim, what are you looking for in this series? Nice bounce back opportunity. Bryce Harper back Tuesday.
Super pumped to get the big thing is getting the day off tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
We saw with the relief pitching, it's not good. The the very few reliable pieces we had, they can't pitch every single day. So getting the day off is going to be a nice little way for us to reset ourselves. Side note: Romano not being able to hold people on is an issue. What am I looking forward to in this series? Hopefully, we can score some runs. We
Yeah.
weren't really scoring much with since Harper went out. So return of Harper. Hopefully, we can get back on the scoreboard, get a couple multi-run wins here, and then after starting off hot but cooling down since, looking to see what Hoffman looks like. Right, it's going to be exciting to see what Trevor Hoffman looks like, especially if he comes in a high leverage situation. If
Yeah.
we're down a run or something late in the game, that should be exciting. Lastly, they beat us last year, I think, when they came to Philly. So yeah, it's a wonky team. That they got a diehard fan base of Blue Jays. This should be a very interesting interleague matchup. This is one of interleague matchups that still feel like a unorthodox baseball matchup, right?
For sure. For sure. Absolutely. Bones, what's your thoughts on this series?
Yeah, they got a couple of good starters. Chris Bassett, Bowden Francis, who they're going to see Tuesday night.
Mm-hmm.
Couple guys going on the DL. Dalton Varsho, he's going on the DL. And Santander, their big free agent acquisition this year from the Orioles. He just went on the DL, but he was having a down year. 6 homers, only 18 RBIs. He's batting like 170.
Yeah, that's
But
he's having a rough first
yeah,
half.
and this is like a team, like they'll fall off like come like the middle of the summer. They'll start to plummet down to the basement of the AL East. It's just, I don't know. It's something with that team up there. They can't hold on to like a good record. I don't know what it is, but the Phillies definitely need this off day tomorrow, and then this is a good team that they can bounce back on, I think.
So, like Slim hit on with the bounce back opportunity, the day off, Harper back. Do you guys buy any stock in Harper not being here, having an actual impact outside of the obvious thing that he's good and he helps us win? Like, do you think his leadership not being on the field is something that we missed? Like, truly.
I think I think so, but I think the real impactful thing and the measurable thing is the impact it has up in the order. We now
Sure.
have Bone batting third. It's just the order doesn't look as good once you take out a crucial piece like that. Because at that point you're really looking at Turner, Schwarber, and everyone else. You're after you get around those two, you're good to go. And we kind of saw that today. I felt like.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think it really shed a light on the impact that Harper has on the lineup, right? And, for the stretch when he was really not doing well, and it showed how he gets thrown the least amount of strikes in baseball, right? At that time. So when that becomes a different guy, right? Because Harper's still an elite baseball player where he can give you a good out, right? You hear the productive out comments or a good at bat, right? Even though when he wasn't slugging, he was still getting on base, which is important. If those at bats are all strikeouts, it changes the game. So something to look into, and it's going to be good to have him back. But yeah, huge bounce back opportunity, especially after a sweep at home. So that was ugly.
He low key missed like 6 games. It was almost a full week of games here. So
Yeah.
it was felt. It was definitely felt. We went from winning 9 out of 10 to losing 3 in a row, 4 out of 5, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean we lost 4 in a row, and it was basically 6 games, right? Because he got hit in the first inning. So
Right.
back up to the Braves
First
here.
time they lost 4 in a row at home since 2022.
Oh
And
damn! Wow.
yeah, and it seemed like we for the most part took the high road on that. So I think we just got to live with that decision and move forward. Not a decision I totally disagree with, but I wish we would have been able to win, and get over it, because now we can look back and say, since we haven't won really, I don't know. It seems like they were saying, we don't have the tenacity.
We don't
that
have the
were
tenacity. Yep, 100%. And chat, keep the questions coming, guys. We're about to transition to Slim Pick'ems here, where he's going to
and
lay out his picks. Get Slim.
and,
I'm
and
going to
even
ask one
and
more
even
question
with
too.
with the tenacity standpoint, and I actually give kudos to Luzardo, but a lot of fans wanted Luzardo pulled. Why are you keeping him in there? Yada yada yada. I think that's a professional move. I think that's a locker room move to where Luzardo can go back, look at his teammates, and say, "Hey, look, I did this for us." I don't think he's really thinking about the Cy Young like we were. So I think we do got to take a quick moment of silence and pour one out for uh, Luzardo Cy Young chances, because I know a few people had tickets, and I think that sentiment made its way into our little Phillies lexicon here. But yeah, his Cy Young chances are done with that 14-12 run, or that 12 running outing he just had. And people were blaming Thompson, but for real, it's on Luzardo. You pitched terribly. We have bullpen issues, and unfortunately, we need you to stay in there and take this beat down. So kudos to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, for making him stay in there. So speaking of bullpen issues, when I had to step away earlier, did you guys touch on Taiwan and Mick Abel at all?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
we were
perfect.
talking about it.
Good. I just wanted to make sure
Yep.
that we touched on that because obviously Mick Abel with a nice start coming up here this Thursday. And Slim, take it away, baby. Give us some
Cool.
winners.
We ready for some Slim Pick'ems?
Yep.
All right. So Red Riders, Red Nation, and anyone else who's dropping in just to see what Slim's on this week. Again, this is the S&P, the Slim and Partners 500. Last week, I gave you guys out some single plays on Mondays or for the Sunday Memorial Special, and then I gave you the double down for Monday and Tuesday. Long story short, we went 4 and 9 last week for plus 0.4 units, so we won almost half a unit there. For the year, we are 31 and 66 minus 13.48 units. So we're slowly chucking back here. Slowly but surely. Today, this is what we're doing. Tomorrow, we're taking 4 games, all minus 1.5. The first game is going to be the Tigers. We're going to take the Mets. We're going to take the Brewers, and we're going to take the Twins. All minus 1.5. All tomorrow, Monday, June 2nd. If they lose, double down, take them Tuesday. We're going to get a clean 4-0 sweep. And when I say 4-0 sweep, listeners, Red Riders, gamblers, winners, remember, I'm doing the double downs, okay? So I'm looking, if I can go 4-4, lose all the first 4, and then pick all of them up on those double downs on Tuesday. So that's why my win-loss record is so crazy. But my units, even though minus 13 is bad, that's why it's not minus 30 units. It's only minus 13. And then on top of that, that minus 1.5 line, that's going to be giving you plus value. All right. So we're just a few away from really breaking this open. So in recap, we're taking the Brewers, we're taking the Twins, we're taking the Tigers, we're taking the Mets, all minus 1.5. If they lose, double down Tuesday. I'll see you here again later in the week, and it's going to be a 4-0 cash in for the S&P 500.
Love it.
And
Guys,
you
heard
think
everything.
Kyle Schwarber has good June? Wait till you see the Slim this month.
That's
Yes,
right.
absolutely. Love that.
Guys, we say it every week. Make sure you ride with Slim because the Red Corner always does. A couple we're going to end the show the way we always do, right? But a couple other comments I wanted to make, and apologies if anything was repetitive because I know you guys were holding it down. No worries whenever I have to step away because you guys were killing it with that. But I want to talk about this. Ranger Suarez, right? We kind of wasted what I would call a good enough start today, right? And, he wasn't lights out, right? He had 7 hits through however many, but a good enough start. And I'm really excited that he's back on track, right? Because I kind of wrote him off. I'm not going to lie. When I say wrote him off, I didn't think he was going to be even 85% of the guy he was last year. And I think he is that, which is huge. So anything you want to say on that in chat, you guys too.
No, it's awesome, especially when he comes in and he's having 3 pitch innings. He's real cool, quick innings, which is awesome. Especially hopefully in our more high intense games. Because here's one stat I do want to say before we finish up the episode and get into this Phillies, let's stay in Phillies history. Ranger Suarez is a gamer. like you're saying, I wasn't thinking about re-signing him, but looking forward to 26, 27, what this rotation could look like, I am down with Wheeler. I love Lazardo, but we only have him for one more year after this year. Um, Abel, Nola, like I think we got to really consider what is Suarez's price and bringing him back. But what I want to get to with him being a gamer is this,
Mm-hmm.
because we actually saw a rematch of today. Our last time we saw Quintero, he was playing for the Mets and he was facing off against Suarez in the playoffs. So here's my point:
Good call.
the Phillies are 11-15 against teams that are 500 or better. The Mets are currently, I think, like 18-11 versus teams that are 500 or better. We're 0-3 versus the Mets. So again, we're kicking the team's butts that we need to take care of. But is this going to be a indicator of how we're going to perform in high uh, tense situations come September and October? I'm a little bit nervous there. But that being said, I trust Ranger Suarez in those situations. So that's where I'm coming full circle with our boy Ranger.
Yeah, and he's definitely looking more like the guy he was in the beginning of last year, up
Big
until that London series when he got hit in the hand. Than he was after that, where he sucked, but he came back in the playoffs. He didn't have the command, but he didn't give up any runs. Like, he was looking good, but
Right.
that first start this year he looked rough, but after that it's been just bounce back, cool Ranger. So.
No, cool Ranger, 100%. Yeah, between spring training and his first start or so, I did not like what I saw. So I'm loving what I'm seeing. And Jerry B in the chat saying they lost this game for Suarez. 8 players left on base, 5 to 6 runners and scored. 100%, Jerry. Yeah, no, this was a good enough. This was a good enough start for a win. Ranger did his job and then some. Slim, I want to comment on that one thing you said in Bones. I'll kick. Yeah, no, Bones, go, because I want to change the topic again.
According to Ryan Spader on Twitter, the Phillies lead all of baseball with 435 men left on base this year.
That sounds about right.
Somebody tweeted, have the Rockies had 435 men on base all year?
Slim, what you said earlier, I'm conflicted on because I've been reading some of those stats as well, right? Because on one hand, I agree with you, right? I agree that you want to be able to play good against the good teams because obviously you're going to be playing good teams in the playoffs. However, if you check history, because there's been a lot of people that have kind of brought the stats on that, basically every year that the Phillies have won the pennant, the percentage of winning percentage against losing and winning teams that we've had this year is virtually identical, meaning 1980, 2008, 2009, 2022, all the big years, right? Pennant winning years. We've basically within a similar percentage of we beat up on the bad teams and you do pretty good against the good teams.
And the one thing I was thinking when I saw that number is maybe, again, this is a gambler in me, but the idea of being due, right? We're due to
Yeah.
win one of these big series or big games. We just got to keep positioning ourselves to have the opportunity to be in big games and big series, which we've been doing. So
100%. Anything else, guys, before we close things down?
no, I'm excited. We're in June. We're in it now. So every day. Every day now it's going to start feeling like the Eagles, every week, every
100%.
day. We're out of first place now. It happened that fast. Best record in baseball to be in second place, not in the major leagues, not in the National League, but in our own division. So it's going to be us and the Mets all year long.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. Yeah, life came at us fast with that. Guys, if you're still here and if you're listening in the future, please hit that subscribe button. We appreciate it. And you know how it is. It helps. And we have a lot of exciting content. And Slim, I will kick it back over to you. Don't worry, baby. We have a lot of exciting content coming your way. You saw what we were doing all weekend, right? We have tailgates coming up. We have watch parties coming up. Slim and I were actually at Love City for a happy hour a couple days ago. Had a great time. We have tailgates. We have watch parties. We have so much content coming your way. So please stay tuned. Bones, Slim, next to you, Slim, kick it off, and then we'll close things down with On This Day in Phillies history.
Yeah, no, you're right. We got a ton of things coming on. I have a whole list of bars because we're still on the hunt to find the best Phillies baseball bar too.
Yup.
So yeah, I got a long, long list that me, Bones, and yourself are gonna be checking out. Yeah, so stay tuned for all of that good stuff.
Yep. Close it down, Bones.
All right, so on this date in 1983, Mike Schmidt shared the cover of Sports Magazine with three other Hall of Famers, Andre Dawson, Gary Carter, and Robin Yount. And I just learned something about Robin Yount the other day. He came up, was drafted third overall at 17 years old. When he turned 18, he started playing in Major League Baseball. His first full year after he got drafted.
Peace.
18 years old as a shortstop for the Brewers. Pretty cool.
Very cool.
Went on to play like 22 years or something like that. Here's a dud. 2018, 13 Phillies strike out in a 4-0 loss to the San Francisco Giants. It was the sixth straight game in which they fanned at least 10 times, setting a new club record.
Fifth game in a row.
Sixth.
Oh my God.
I was there for that. We were live. We were probably. That's terrible. Terrible.
Yeah, that's terrible. And I also really feel like we can't lose sight of how rough of a start that was for Luzardo. Like, there might not be another one in our lifetime. You know what I mean? Like, we have to be at one of the worst games you'll ever see.
There's a couple of people in here like it probably wasn't in their lifetime, and they're older than us.
True. That's true. Yeah, we actually haven't. Do we talk about whose fault that was? Because there's been a lot of.
For what?
So we have the home run patrol, right, guys? Where we have.
Oh yeah.
We have a group of like 6 or so people that we have season tickets with, right? And all three of the Red Corner boys are included there. So we had, different people come to different games. We had our good friend Whitey who subbed in for the first time. I think he might be suspended indefinitely. And Slim wasn't there. So do we blame Whitey for being there, or do we blame Slim for not being there?
Well,
That's the
long story
question.
short, I wasn't there, but we had another Red Rider, BD, fill in for
Willie
me.
D.
Yeah, Willie D filled in for me. So Whitey, Mr. White filled in for somebody else because I pulled it. When I'm absent, I make sure I give notice. I gave months' notice on that I was going to be out. Yeah, I maybe for my next bar review, I'll let you guys know where I was. But I was somewhere, and it did include ice cream. I had ice cream where I was at too, believe it or not.
All right,
we haven't lost a game in over 2 years.
Yeah, that's a good point. So that's the really important point. Folks, thank you for clarifying that. We have not lost a game since 2023. And so, chat, make a determination on this. Do you blame we're gonna put it down to two people. Do you blame Slim for not being there, or do you blame Whitey for being there? So on that note, we'll do a little survey and we'll talk about the results next episode. Guys, go Phils, let's bounce back against the Blue Jays, and we will see you soon.